Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. This is David Gomez, and I am interviewing this afternoon Hector Gonzalez, who is the Senior Vice President of Human Resources, Tyson Foods, Inc. Hector, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you, David. Thanks for your time today.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time as well. It's a pleasure to get to know you and get to hear your story firsthand. So one of the things that we've been asking our members and our speakers is to tell us about themselves, tell us about your background, and it could be personal or professional, and for our audience to get to know you.
Very good. I am married with 2 children. My wife and I were high school sweethearts. We went to school together in Southwest Texas, a small town by the name of Eagle Pass. I was born in Piedras Negras, Coahuila. I was born in Mexico. My parents were immigrants and worked extremely hard to give us, there were 5 boys, a good education, send us on our way to prosper somehow. My wife and I have 2 children. They're really not children anymore. My son, the youngest, Adrian, is 19 years old. He goes to school at TCU. He's a marketing major. And my daughter, Sarah Lissa, just turned 26 yesterday. She's a digital marketer for IBM in New York City. So both kids do well. We're very proud of them. My wife and I are both Catholic. We've lived in Northwest Arkansas for about 16 years. We came here because of Tyson Foods. I worked for IBP, the largest producer of fresh beef and pork in the world, prior to it being acquired by Tyson Foods back in 2001. So that acquisition led to our relocation from South Dakota to Northwest Arkansas, where our kids call that home now. I am Senior Vice President of Human Resources at Tyson Foods. I've been with Tyson for about 28 years. My career has been in human resources the entire time. I've held different leadership roles in human resources at Tyson. And I can't really say enough about how good that company has treated me through the years. I'm proud to be a part of the Tyson family and proud to serve it in the current capacity and in the various capacities I've held throughout my long tenure at Tyson. We live in Springdale. We enjoy Springdale and look forward to being there for a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's awesome. And my family also comes from Coahuila.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we're from Monclova.
From Monclova, I'm very familiar with that area.
Yeah, so that's amazing. And we also live in Northwest Arkansas, so yeah, small world.
It is a small world.
Well, so I was looking at your profile, and I was seeing that you have been a mentor. I'm sorry that let me repeat that. But what I was talking about was mentorship, and I was going to ask you if in your career you've had any type of mentor or an individual that has propelled you to pursue your goals.
Oh, I've had many, David, to speak of. The first person that comes to mind for me is really a personal mentor of mine, and that's my father, who actually has the same name, still lives in Eagle Pass. He grew up with a very simple life. He had to support his family at the age of 13. He grew up in Monterrey, Nuevo León, and not far from Monclova. And he Was only able to achieve about an elementary level school education. His life compelled him to work and support his mother after he lost my grandfather at a young age. And so he spent most of his time, most of his life, working very hard to support his family and learn how to be a very responsible head of household at a very young age. Mm-hmm. My father is an outstanding provider, an outstanding leader. He managed to raise 5 boys and somehow enable them to all get their undergraduate and in some cases their graduate work on a very small annual salary. How he did it is beyond me, but he found a way, and he did it in hopes of giving his children a better life than he had growing up. And so he's him and my mother have shown us unconditional love our entire lives, and I could not think of a better mentor than him throughout my life. At work, I was able to apply a number of the lessons that I learned from him and build relationships with a number of leaders that have beat a path for me, a number of successful people that have helped me learn what to do and what not to do, if you will.
Yeah.
I've had a number of champions, both at Dakota Dunes, South Dakota, when I worked for the fresh meat side of our business, as well as in Springdale. People who looked out for me, people who saw potential in me, and it helped me grow personally and professionally. And so, although I came from not much, I did not at any time feel like I accomplished what I've accomplished alone. I had a number of people along the way helping me make the right choices, helping me understand the risks, the risks that a career can bring about, and how to make good decisions. And so I've picked up a number of good habits from a number of leaders that I saw operate really well, really efficiently, really effectively. Tried to mimic a number of qualities that they demonstrated through the years, and frankly saw some people that behaved in ways that I didn't want to be seen as, right? So yeah, I have, it would take me a long time to list the many leaders that I believe have helped me grow professionally and also grow away from work. Mm-hmm. But there's no question that I've relied on a number of people to help me understand how people should behave, how they must behave, how they can behave in order to maximize their professional runway. And for me, it's been a blessing to have that many good people around me.
Yeah. No, that is amazing. I mean, you don't get anywhere really by yourself. But the interesting part is, in my opinion, is how your dad seemed to value education from, for you and your siblings, and I'm pretty sure that propelled him, to push you guys to value that. And I think that that's something that you value as well.
No question. I think at home for me, um, it started with valuing character
Mhm.
and integrity, honesty, responsibility, uh, humility. I saw my parents be very humble throughout their lifetime. They did a lot with very little, and they demonstrated to me in a number of ways that if you're able to focus on the things in life that matter most, uh, nothing else really matters. And
Right.
so, family, our faith, love for one another was key in my household. We spoke Spanish um, all the time. I spoke English in the classroom
Mhm.
and Spanish everywhere else. That was our first language, still is. And so it was, I lived a life that I have um, a lot to be grateful for. I, again, did not grow up with all of the materials and conveniences that others did. But to this day, I never felt like I missed a thing.
Yeah. That's
There's a lot that unconditional love fills in for.
that's awesome. It seems like family is such a strong foundation for you.
It is, without a doubt.
Yeah. Um, so now let's move a little bit in the professional realm. Um, so what strategies have you used to find success in your career?
Um, well, one strategy that I have learned a lot about over time that I still embrace in a really big way today and find to be essential uh, to the success of any leader in whatever business you're in, and that is understanding your business, knowing as much as you possibly can about your business. I am a human resource professional. I've been an HR professional all of my career. But to impact the business in a positive way, to create value as a human resource professional, to drive the right business outcomes, you have to know what makes your business tick,
Okay.
what the risks and opportunities are, what uh, the long term and short term strategic objectives are,
Mm-hmm.
and how the work that you do, how the discipline that you function in, how the function that you lead drives those outcomes. So for me, it's absolutely critical that any leader, whether you're in human resource, finance, um, legal, uh, whatever the case may be, for me, it's absolutely critical that every leader understand precisely what it is that makes their business tick,
Mm-hmm.
what their business needs in order to excel, what it needs to continue to change along with the times, along with consumer sentiment, along with demand, what it needs to get better in the long term, what the imperatives are, and then link the work that we do within our function to what those particular business imperatives are. If they are linked, then in my view, you're able to drive the right outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not, then you're just working on stuff that may or may not move the needle.
So kind of taking ownership of their craft and the department that they're in.
Exactly, and tying it directly to what the desired business outcomes are. Right? You can work on a lot of stuff in isolation, but if it isn't directly linked to what it is that the business leaders think they want out of that organization in the short and long term,
Mm-hmm.
then you're sort of operating in a silo. and maybe achieving the right outcomes, but they may not be driving the right results.
Right. No, and a lot of there's a lot of companies who their most detrimental characteristic has been that they don't communicate well internally. So yeah, I think you're spot on. So what advice would you give Latinos who are in their path to leadership?
I have learned through the years, David, that we as Latinos are capable of achieving the same, if not more, than anybody else. As a young student growing up, I spoke English in the classroom and Spanish the rest of the time, which means that 75% of the time, if not more, you're speaking Spanish and only using English when you have to. At least that's how I grew up. As you grow older, you find yourself, or at least I found myself, with some real limitations around my abilities. That led to a lack of confidence, if you will, that caused me to really question where I belonged, where I didn't belong, what I should be a part of, what I shouldn't be a part of. And it at times created this intimidating atmosphere that I think I created myself as a result of a lack of confidence that kept me from wanting to engage in a way that I should have and could have. And after 28 years in this line of business, I've found that we're just all people who come from different places and have with different upbringings, and we have the same right to achieve the highest degree and the highest level of success as anybody else. And not only do we have the same right, but we have the same, if not more, potential to do it than anybody else. And so my message for any Latino out there interested in learning more about what their future might bring is your runway is endless. Maximize your runway, because your runway is just as long as it is for anybody else. You just have to take charge. You have to set your mind on what you want, and you have to prepare yourself for it, and you have to work hard. And in some cases, we may have to work harder than somebody else, but that's just the hand that we were dealt. Nobody said it was going to be easy. Yeah. But if you have aspirations to do more, you should pursue your dreams. Work hard and don't give up, and know that no one has a bigger right than you do to achieve your dreams.
Yeah, that's inspiring, and I think that's a message that a lot of Latinos need to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a living testament that if I can do it, anybody can.
Yeah, and that's the purpose of these interviews, to highlight our speakers, and because you have a story. You're there. We witnessed something that has been accomplished by one of us. So yeah, that it is very important. So since we're going to be releasing this the spotlights in for the Hispanic Heritage Month, one of the questions that we're asking our members is, how do you keep your Hispanic heritage alive?
How do I keep it alive? I don't know how it would ever die, to be honest. Um, I eat the same foods. You know, my kids make fun of me because of some of the meals that I snack on at times. Um, I eat the same foods. I talk to my parents weekly. I have the same conversations with them in in my native tongue that I've been having all of my life.
Hmm.
Uh, Listen to the same music, watch some of the same TV shows every now and then. Um, I pray in Spanish, just like I did growing up.
Hmm.
I go to Mass in English. My family's Catholic. We attend English Mass. My kids were altar servers growing up, and so that's the Mass that we attend at our parish.
Hmm.
But there's just so much that I grew up doing that is part of my daily lifestyle, and it is um, it's the kind of stuff that stays with you for life, right? It doesn't isn't something that you turn on and off or that you transition away from. It's what makes you who you are.
Yeah.
It's what gives you your identity. It's what shapes you and and drives you forward. Those are, regardless of the static I take from my kids for some of the meals we make or some of the stuff I enjoy doing. It's just their way of showing me some love, you know, a little bit of hard love. And Dad, you can't get away from your roots. And no, I can't get away from my roots, and neither can they, to be honest, because they embrace some of the very same things I do, because that's their identity, that's their life, that's where they grew up or
Yeah.
how they grew up. So, yeah, I don't know that it's anything other than just some of the same subtle traditions uh, that I did growing up.
You do a lot of carne asadas?
I grill a lot. I enjoy spending a little bit of time outside and grilling, and you know, saw my dad do it when we were growing up. We have friends over, and my wife enjoys cooking a lot of um, Mexican food, and we order out Mexican food. We again, we have certain customs, right? We keep some of the same food in the refrigerator at my house that my mother stocked our refrigerator with.
Yeah.
That's just because of how um, what you're used to. That's how you grow up. I also live a somewhat frugal life. My mother taught us to be very frugal growing up. She had 5 boys to raise, a lot of laundry to do.
Yeah.
She learned how to be very efficient with the products that she needed,
Hmm.
and learned how to stretch them, right, in remarkable ways. And I find myself doing that even though I may not have to. Thank God. It's um, it's just a way of living that stays with you, and you learn to be um, very frugal in the way you live, regardless of what your means might be.
It's almost like a lean mentality that you carry throughout the rest of your life. I mean, that's something that you're just always gonna do.
Yeah, yeah. I get upset about the smallest things that my mother would get upset about, even though I really don't have a basis for that. But it's the same stuff, you know. It's what makes you who you are.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, the last question that we're asking for our audience is, what's next? What are you working on next, or any new projects that you might have in your plate?
Oh, I don't know that I have anything specific that I'm working on next, David. I am very busy at work. I am very focused on helping keep our team members safe at Tyson Foods. That's our top priority. I am very focused on leading my team in an effective way, getting us past this global health pandemic, putting us in a position to win. I'm very focused on working hard, making sure that we come out of this on the better side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm also focused on looking for ways to give back, right? I serve on a couple of different boards. I have served for a number of years on the Circle of Life Operating Board and continue to do so. I also serve on the foundation board for the Springdale Public Schools Education Foundation. And then recently joined the Latinx NA Advisory Council. I haven't made it to any of the meetings because of some of what I've got going on at work with COVID, and frankly, everything has been remote, so I just haven't had a chance to connect with those leaders the way I'd like to. But I believe that very soon I'll have a chance to connect with some of them virtually and live. I've had maybe one or two sessions where I've had a chance to meet some of the great leaders that did work behind the scenes at Latinx NA.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a number of leaders yet to meet. So I look forward to that. I find it an honor to be asked to be part of that organization, given all of the good that it does for the number of people that it touches. So those are some of the things that are on my plate today that will
continue working.
keep me busy.
Yeah.
For the
I think I'm getting a little bit of connection here. Can you hear me, Hector? Not sure if you're able to hear me. Okay, I can hear you.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, good, good. For a moment there, I thought I lost you. No, but I did hear you talking about working with XNA and participating on the board and yeah, it is a pleasure to have you. It's such an important work that they do that it helps a lot of people. Well, let me just thank you on behalf of the Latino Business Speaker Bureau for this time and for sharing your story. It really was a pleasure.
You bet. Thank you, David. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it very much. Mm-hmm.